Tottenham's Ebere sorrows didn't last very long. Mohammed Kudus and Morgan Gibbs-White are through the door for around 115 million combined. After riding the storm of Manchester City speculation, Forest thought they were in the clear, but in stepped Thomas Frank's craving for the 25-year-old English midfielder. Now, Morgan Gibbs-White, when we're discussing who he is, needs no real introduction. The four-time England international has made over 150 appearances now in the Premier League, solidifying himself as a very key player at the very forefront of Forest's recent seasons. As a player now, he's traditionally attacking midfielder, but is capable as playing as a number 8 too, if utilised correctly. His strengths largely sit within the process of him receiving the ball into his feet, then smoothly and swiftly turning to then carry the ball forwards very powerfully. Although he thrives on Nuno's low possession, direct counter-attacking approach, you could argue this slightly masks the technical ability he holds. Gibbs-White shares a wealth of all-round influence. He balances decisive, match-winning quality with defensive contribution of the ball. As we've lightly touched on, Gibbs-White enjoys receiving the ball straight into his feet, with an open body orientation to his side, making it easier for him to carry the ball forwards almost instantly. The Englishman is deadly at running into acres of open space for sure, as he's had a lot of practice at Forest last season. But Morgan Gibbs-White really excels within the congested spaces, a scenario he'll face a lot for Tottenham Hotspur. Gibbs-White can drop deep into the midfield within the deep lying areas to simply playmake. He can effectively consume players into him, creating space for others. Executed via quick pieces of combination play, allowing for teammates to thrive with more space, or him simply finding the space for himself with his exceptional ball retention qualities. The link-up is silky, skillful and smooth, and Gibbs-White can almost act as an unselfish outlet for the team to unleash others around him, as after all, he's an all-round asset. That showcase of skill, trickery, quick feet is used to twist and turn around an opponent, sometimes using his body to shift his size between the man and the ball, but often it's that raw talent paired with experienced IQ now that shines right through. This eye-catching class to his game translates to the final third, capable of producing moments of magic. But before we analyse that, his passing is superb. There's a distinct look to Gibbs-White within this phase, making it pretty unpredictable when creating chances for his forwards. He can hit the ball on the outside of his foot when looking for runners with the perfect weight onto it, the perfect amount of spin and direction to make life very difficult for defenders trying to break up the play. If there's a runner in behind, Gibbs-White will find them. When striking the ball with longer distance, he can generate the perfect speed, accuracy, technique, weight onto that ball, and genuinely does so with a high swing of his right leg, making it look easy, effortless, completely untroubled in his actions, oozing sheer class and demonstrating his playmaking qualities. The last component to his chance creating muscle is found in his crossing. It doesn't matter if he's hitting it high or low, he does so with confidence and ease, just like his all-round skill set, finding the likes of Chris Wood very effectively, which will of course translate to Dominic Solanke. His dribbling, his crossing, his passing, and then his shooting is all brilliant. His brilliant ball striking spills across to his goals and efforts at goal. If he's on the edge of the box, he loves to steer the ball with a finesse into the corners, looking real laid back. If you give him time and a ball laid across onto his right foot, you are in trouble. You're in trouble overall because Gibbs-White screams nothing but composure in the final third, showing quite a variance to his shot selection. Right foot, left foot, even headers, box attacking, scrappy play, open space, his talent rises to the top on all occasions. But how does this fit Tottenham Hotspur with the existing James Maddison, Kulusevski, Mohammed Kudus? Let's have a look. So this is what I think a Tottenham Hotspur starting 11 looks like with Morgan Gibbs-White in it. It looks as if Tottenham are building the final boss non-big 6-11 with Maddison, with Solanke, with Gibbs-White, with Kudus. But if we have a look at this signing and what it means for the midfield, I think it makes Tottenham Hotspur incredibly fluid. A lot of people may point out that you could see Maddison and Gibbs-White in the same starting 11, and I think that could be true because Gibbs-White all-round is fantastic. He is so well balanced within his skill set, but I think to get the best out of his attributes, he needs to be deployed at a number 10. I think this will make Tottenham Hotspur extremely fluid. I think when you look at build-up play amongst these players just here, you have Bergvall, somebody who can really progress the ball forwards, comfortable on the ball, Archie Gray within that as well. You've got Gibbs-White and Kudus who can drop in deep and combine, pulling players away, consuming players into them to provide room for the likes of the left winger in Son or Tel, depending on who it is, in Solanke and even Brennan Johnson on this side as well, to pull players in and create space for those runners. The fullbacks will be flying into the space that these two create for them. I really do think there'll be so much fluidity in this midfield, with Gibbs-White, with Kudus, with Bergvall, creating that midfield overload. It could genuinely be very dangerous. When you're attacking as well and when you move into those half spaces, you have Kudus and you have Gibbs-White amongst there, combining. That is fantastic. Two very technical players who can shoot from the edge of the box, who can create, who can combine, who can do everything. And that will be important against low blocks as well, because a lot of people talk about Thomas Frank and the space of which he got at Brentford in terms of really thriving off the likes of Mbeumo and Vissa and Sade into big space. When you do come up against those tough defences, you have two players here who will combine and who will unlock that attack. They can rotate, they can interchange, and the best thing about Morgan Gibbs-White is that he suits very short, intricate passing play very well, but also direct pieces of play, where we can see long direct balls into the likes of Solanke for Gibbs-White to feed off, because that sounds very similar to what he's been doing this season with Chris Wood. Thomas Frank in truth demands comfortability on the ball. It's what he wants in every single player. It's what he wanted at Brentford, and it's what he massively emphasised. Morgan Gibbs-White fits the bill for this fantastically. He brings players into the game unselfishly with his all-round ability, and it's no wonder that Tottenham have gone in for another number 10. I know you have Maddison there, I know you have Kudus that can play there, and I know you have Kulusevski there. But Maddison, you're probably going to get half a season out of him, whether he's fit or not. That's the truth. James Maddison only delivers for the first half of the season or the second half of the season. Kulusevski can be deployed on the right hand side, but is also a little bit inconsistent in terms of his fitness. So that number 10 role is really important for Thomas Frank. Somebody consistent there needs to be performing. And Morgan Gibbs-White fits the bill for this. He plays that Damsgaard role brilliantly well. He can drop into the midfield and combine with others, but also one of the best things about Gibbs-White, we talk about short intricate passing play, he can unleash the likes of Johnson, Tel, Son, Solanke, Porro, even Kudus into those attacking spaces with his amazing direct passing. We've seen it against Manchester City when he found Callum Hudson-Odoi. We've seen it for the pre-assist against Everton where he found Chris Wood. His direct balls gives him so much variance in his play. And this is the type of signing that is really that final piece to the puzzle in terms of the attack. He can score goals himself, he can create himself, but this really unleashes the very best out of those Tottenham wingers, bringing more goals to the team. In terms of off the ball as well, Morgan Gibbs-White is incredibly hard working, so he'll get back defensively, he'll recover his position defensively and do a pretty good job of it. We've also seen Morgan Gibbs-White in a pivot with Elliot Anderson in a 3-4-3, so it is possible for him to play as a number 8, but I'd only do that against certain teams. Because although Thomas Frank is very good in terms of his coaching, his communication and players understanding their roles, it was quite a a weakness for Brentford at times, that midfield space, in terms of then getting carved open in transition. So I really don't think that Gibbs-White, Maddison and then a defensive midfielder would work against quite a lot of teams. There's so much technical ability within this squad, and I think Tottenham really have great squad depth. To have Maddison and Kulusevski as options behind Gibbs-White, I think is a huge, huge luxury. Heung-min Son, in terms of his minutes, can be managed. We know he's regressed a little bit, but that regression will be covered up a little bit, just pampered over when there's Matthias Tell and Brennan Johnson who can play here as well. To summarise, the signing of Morgan Gibbs-White I think is a very, very good one. I did think it was a little bit unnecessary at first, as I do think Tottenham still need a number 6. But it makes sense. I think it unleashes the best out of others, and I think it gives Tottenham and Thomas Frank that little bit of depth for the 4 competitions he'll be competing in next season. The rotations, the fluidity, everything is going to be potentially very fluid within that technical core of Tottenham Hotspur. I think the last piece to that midfield puzzle is getting a number 6, somebody who can win those duels, get about a bit in terms of his energy, but also pass the ball forwards and unleash the likes of Gibbs-White, because the movement, the different areas he'll want to pick up the ball in will vary, and defenders are going to have a very, very tough time against the Spurs midfield next season. Thank you for watching today's video. If you did enjoy, smash a like, subscribe to the channel. What do you think of the signing of Morgan Gibbs-White for 60 million? Do you think it's a good one, or do you think it's a bit unnecessary? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.